So learn from all of the naysayers as well as learn from the people who support you.
Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another amazing guest on, one that I think is doing some great things. And, it's always interesting to see someone who is taking on the challenge of figuring out how to start a business, and not only just start a business, but how to create an impact through that business. So I definitely want to welcome my special guest, Samra, to the show. Welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure. It is a pleasure to have you. And before we jump into your business, Volunto, I want to talk about, what was your background, and what are you kind of up to outside of Volunto?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am currently sophomore at UNC Charlotte, sophomore by grade level. I'm technically a senior by credit level. So however I'm classified, I'm not quite sure of that yet, but I am student at UNC Charlotte. I'm a part of the Levine Scholars Program there, which is their full ride flagship scholarship program. And that I talk about that program because it's been instrumental in kind of my journey to creating an entrepreneurial journey there. I am triple majoring in management information systems, operation supply chain management, and history. That really does keep me busy outside of Volunteer, but kind of my going to my background in business, I think I've always thought of myself as a socially minded problem solver. So whenever I would see a problem within the community or problem overall, I would just be motivated to go out there and solve it. And within the Levine Scholars Program, they really encourage us to take the opportunity that we have been afforded here at UNC Charlotte, as well as our education, and put it to good use, figuring out and solving kind of diverse social problems in Charlotte. As a part of the scholarship, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of nonprofits within the Charlotte area and do internships there. And when I was doing that, I realized that a lot of the ways that college students are being targeted to volunteer to nonprofits really don't make use of our skills. We're paying tens of thousands of dollars to gain skills to become human capital. And the way that nonprofits usually tend to utilize us, it really does not tap into those skills and expertise we're gaining as a result of our education. And we're studying, especially in fields, business fields like marketing or accounting or the computer science oriented fields. We really have tangible skills that we can give nonprofits, but there was not. It was a disconnect between the exchange of skills and ideas between these two groups. This kind of second problem I identified was that as college students, unless we get formal internships, really don't have the ability to put the curriculum and the ideas we're learning into practice. So you would learn about how to build a website or how to design this logo in any of your classes, but you wouldn't necessarily apply that in a professional formal environment. So I identified these two problems, and I was talking to a lot of people within the scholarship program. And then I got connected to the Office of Entrepreneurship at UNC Charlotte, and they encouraged me to apply for Venture Prize, which is our incubator program. We incubate college teams from UNC Charlotte as well as community teams to develop their ideas and get a business plan. I was fortunate enough to get a National Science Foundation grant to explore kind of this problem further and figure out a solution for it. And towards the end of that process, Volunteer was born, and I've been tinkering with it for about half a year or so. I started working on kind of solving the problem in November, and I think at the end of June, July was when the idea for Volunteer took place. I've been tinkering around it it for about half a year. But outside of volunteer, I really like to keep busy and continue to explore new ideas and constantly just dream and innovate. That's my motto in life. I keep on dreaming up really crazy ideas and figuring out if I could turn them into a reality. And all the programs that I'm a part of, all of the wonderful mentors that I'm so fortunate to have in my life. They keep on encouraging me, and every day there is a new little idea or new project that I'm chasing. So I always just keep myself busy, and I have fun along the way, just chasing new dreams and new opportunities.
Awesome. I mean, with three majors, launching a business, how do you even have time to do anything other than those two?
I honestly don't know. Things just get somehow they just get done. I start off the day with a massive amount of work to do, and somehow towards the end of the day, the work is done and I'm still sane and very happy doing it. I think there's once if when you have a passion for something, and when something is it's just not work for you, it's something that's just necessary for you to be happy and to be fulfilled and just to live. You don't really think of, oh, this is going to eat up all my time, or I need to do that, and that just things get done. And for me, what I'm studying and volunteer, they very much function in that way, just something that I need to do every single day, and I would do every single day, even if no one was counting on me, if I were not accountable to anyone. It's just something that I love doing, and because I think with the love and the passion that I put into it, things get done, and I still, like I said, I'm sane and happy, and I'm extremely fulfilled.
That's one of those things I've learned over the years that I think that people underestimate is just, the fact of even when there's days of hard work, is just to be able to say that, hey, I still have my sanity at the end of it. It's a huge victory.
Yeah, there is I mean, last when I was doing Venture Prize, and kind of as a part of Venture Prize and National Science Foundation, you would have to attend weekly classes. They're a couple hours long, as well as throughout the week you would have homework assignments. Like you had to go out there and interview people in your industries and have a game plan going on. Simultaneously, I had two internships in the summer, and one was like full kind of 35 hour internship that I was doing with a company. And then I had another nonprofit internship on top of it. I had to do the work for volunteer. At the same time, I was also launching a social organization with another Lewin Scholar alum of mine. And looking back on those days, I'm still like really puzzled as to how I managed to get everything done and still come out of it not like completely drained, and still like very happy and motivated to keep further. And I just think it's just that love and that adrenaline rush that just kicks in, and you when you're in it, you just knock everything out and you still like come out on top.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. I love it. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask about is, with the Venture Prize program, because we've had Laura Smells on to talk about Venture Prize. So I'm very curious as to what your experience was like going through the program.
I love Laura Smells. She's just such a wonderful person, and she's been so crucial to not only my journey with volunteer, but just me growing as a person, and really growing just my entrepreneurial mindset, and accepting and being happy with failure. And I think, talking about my experience with Venture Prize, a lot of it is just the program is absolutely fantastic, but a lot of my experience and why I love it so much, it ultimately falls down to the people who work within enterprise, and the mentors we have access to. And Laura is a huge component of that program. I it's just such a supportive network, not only in terms of Devin and Laura, who are the two people in charge of enterprise, but also the other teams that you have that you communicate with them weekly and you share your progress and you share your ideas with them, and they all come out there and support you, and you get to see we're in different stages of our business plan. Some of them, like I started out with not even an idea. I started out with a problem, and there were people who had um, there were PhD like scientists who had been working on like really cool and amazing discoveries, and now they were just looking for ways to market it. And so, it's a really broad range of teams that you have in place, and all of us learn something from each other, and all of us support each other. So that I think that was just so crucial to while into incubating, and me especially gaining confidence as an entrepreneur, and just finding that footing in the door. When I did Ventureprise, I was the only undergraduate student within the university cohort of Ventureprise. Everyone else they were PhD level students or people who had already graduated and were coming back just to test out their ideas. So learning from them, I have gained so much value from the program, and it's been absolutely incredible to my journey and to the journey of Well too.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I love that because one of the things when Laura was on the show, what I really enjoy was where she talked about, how like a lot of people start with a solution and they're looking for a problem to solve. Whereas when you start with the problem, as you keep very good clarity on that, it makes the journey the head unfold a lot easier. So, I mean, when you were focused on, the problem that you were trying to solve, at any point, did you ever kind of start to feel like maybe this problem is too big, or did you end up narrowing the problem down some through your time in Ventureprise?
Yes. So when I first started, the first idea that I conceived of, or first problem I was trying to solve, it was really digital volunteering. I was trying to make a way for college students to donate their skills virtually to nonprofits anywhere in the world. And when I started that idea, what I realized was that problem was too broad in a way. Like it wasn't a specific localized problem that I could target per se. I was trying to focus on making digital volunteering a thing when for a lot of people, I realized that wasn't the main problem. It wasn't that they couldn't volunteer from the comfort of their computers. The skill aspect, like what sort of volunteer work they were doing, was the main problem. So the first problem, like I mentioned to you earlier, like it was the entire problem of how college students volunteer. That was the general theme of kind of the issue that I was getting at. And within that issue, there were two subsets. So kind of how they volunteer and how they volunteer. How they volunteer and what methods they use to volunteer. And initially, I was focusing on the overall idea was to make digital volunteering a thing, regardless of whether it was like skilled digital volunteering or was it just kind of simple like I don't know, simple web entry or some sort of work for nonprofits. And then when I was going through the interview rounds, I realized that a lot of people just liked volunteering in person. So that wasn't a big issue for them. It wasn't that they had to go in person and volunteer. Though for some people that posed a problem. It was the second issue, which was college students felt like their skills weren't being harnessed by nonprofits, or they wish that they had opportunities that tied in with what they were studying, and they could really use their volunteer opportunities not only to give back to their communities, but also gain experience and skills. So that it just allowed me to narrow in on one subset of the problem and realize that the other one that I was so fixated on was I was in my mind, I was exaggerating it a little bit than what it was actually was. It wasn't the bigger problem. It was the actual like the work of volunteering that they were doing. So that program and talking to students, it really helped me narrow it down. I
Okay,
hope that made
nice.
sense. I got a bit lost in kind of trying to rationalize it in my mind and get it out to you. So if you have any clarifying questions, I would love to answer them as well.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think it was good that, like I said, the way you went down it, because I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves challenged with, whereas, they're so tied to their original approach.
Yeah.
But being able to see, like, hey, it's a journey to get to, what really works. And I think or as Laura would put it, that the client discovery of really talking with the end users or the potential end users, really getting their honest feedback. And I think, it's not an easy process to get there. So no, I think you did a good job explaining it, and just really shining light on how, like, hey, it is a complex journey to get to it. So I am curious as to, when people think about, people think about, Volunteer, what's the takeaway that you want them to say, okay, Volunteer, when they hear the word Volunteer, what do you want them to think about?
Yeah. When they hear the word volunteer, I want them to think of the next generation of students really donating their skills to nonprofits. Essentially, um, students taking what they have learned and making a social impact with it at the same time as gaining relevant skills within in their profession. So think of an equitable exchange between two groups that both need certain things. With college students, they want to give back and they need experience. With nonprofits, they need these relevant skills. So kind of an equitable exchange between two groups who desperately both need crucial things in an exchange, and a platform that easily facilitates it. So a platform that allows for nonprofits hassle-free way to get skilled, talented, dedicated college students who, and always, the great part is that since we're focusing on college students, nonprofits will always be at the cutting edge of what's new and what the new generation is thinking about. They'll know that TikTok is a thing, or whatever new app that comes after it. It's a thing because we have not targeted a segment of the population that's on the verge of becoming professionals, but still is very much tied to kind of the youth idea and the youth that the nonprofits want to tap into. For students, volunteer is just a great way to put their skills and their ideas to good use, and get professional experience back, and also simultaneously contribute back. So for those two segments of the population or those two segments we're targeting, I think volunteer means two different things that has different connotations for both, but at the same time for both of them it's an equitable exchange of experience and skills for both.
Awesome. I love it. So where can people find, Volunteer online, or where can they find them on social media? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently with Volunteer, what we're doing is building out the MVP, and we plan to do a trial run with a select group of nonprofits before we allow it to kind of go out into the public and open it up. So currently we are a team of 4, and we're all women, and we have computer scientists and nonprofit experts, as well as myself, kind of leading this entire effort. And we are still working on doing a lot of the still the customer discovery portion of things, getting the technology down, building connections with nonprofits. So we haven't launched yet. So to get in touch with Volunteer, you could feel free to email me, and I can provide my email address, I don't know, to you afterwards with the podcast. Message me on LinkedIn. I'm always there, and I'm more than excited to talk to you. We, as a company, we're still kind of in the early stages of things. Like I said, it's been an idea for only about give or take 6 months or so. And with school and with everything, we're taking a very slow and methodical approach to things to make sure that the product is as great as we want it to be, and we are really, really ironing out all the kinks and making sure that it's fulfilling the needs for all of our nonprofits and our students. So we're taking a very um, intentional, intentionally slow approach to things and making sure we have access to all of the information. So that's why we haven't kind of launch things at an astronomical pace. But yeah, email me, reach out to me via LinkedIn. In the next month or so, we're going to set up all of the social media pages for Volunteer on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. So that would be another avenue to reach me.
Awesome, awesome. And I think you've given us so much value as you talked about, your experience with Venture Prize. So for the last question, I'll cut it back to just one. So when you think about kind of your journey, what's one piece of advice or wisdom that you've learned that you think would be beneficial to other business owners?
Yeah. Okay, so I am the one piece of evidence that I have learned, and I think this might be something that non-business owners or people aspiring startup entrepreneurs don't think about a lot, is because we all love our ideas and we love the innovations that are coming up, but really listen to the market that you're trying to target. And if the market is telling you that maybe this idea, that you have loved so much, it's a child to you, maybe it could use a little bit modification, or you need to kind of take it in a slightly different direction, don't be offended at that or take that as a failure or a personal failure on your part. Really listen to it and kind of follow that as well. Of course, we're all told to believe in ourselves, and if 100 people slam their doors in our faces, if one listens to us and believes in our idea, we're told that it will become a success, and many times it does. But don't, the 100 people that slam their doors in your faces, take something out of that too. Like, figure out what that they're saying that they don't think, that they don't see the value in this opportunity, and why they don't see the value in this opportunity. And if it's perceive it's for legitimate reasons, and see if those are legitimate reasons, how you can go back and fix it, so the next person you talk to, you could pitch it better. So learn from all of the naysayers, as well as learn from the people who support you. It's very important to have people who support you, but I feel like with Volunteer, I have learned most from the people who didn't like this idea in its earlier iteration, or how I was pitching to them. That's been so valuable in me taking it to its present form and learning from it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And so I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show to share your story, to give us a little bit more insight into, what your journey's been like and what your journey has been about. It's definitely very interesting, like I said, to see Volunteer unfold, and we'll definitely keep our eyes out for all that's come ahead. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful time chatting with you, and I look forward to hearing more of your interviews and seeing what really cool people you're talking to.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.